Hi and welcome back to the long-awaited part of my Braid LP. And in this one we're tackling a new world, and this one it's got a tricky gimmick to it, but you're about to see. And that's something I do like about this game: the fact that each world brings up a new game mechanic to play with. And you can see just now the gimmick in this world is the sort of shadow, you see. And essentially, let me see, what's the best way of putting this? But it's like your moves are constantly being recorded, and when you rewind back, it plays what you just did. I've probably made that sound a lot more complicated than it needs to be, really. But yeah, essentially you get a sort of shadow version of yourself, and like a minion in a James Bond movie, you can send him out to do your dirty deeds. So that's kind of fun and kind of tricky too. And I'm pretty sure that this recording your movements technique has been done in quite a lot of games. Like the one that comes to mind is Ratchet and Clank. I believe it's not Tools of Destruction. It's the Crack in Time one, the last of the PS3 trilogy. But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, that game utilised a similar game mechanic, which you're seeing now in this game. And of course, another gaming mascot that comes to mind is Blinks the Time Cat, which I guess most people have forgotten about, but the idea was that you played as this cat that had the power to control time, kind of like an old VHS recorder. You could fast forward time, stop, pause, replay, record, like I just said. And anyway, yeah, that character, I think it was like Microsoft's attempt at creating a mascot like Crash Bandicoot and Sonic and Mario. But yeah, anyway, Microsoft, yeah, the 360 and the Xbox, the first one, they're not really known for their platformers. But I guess it just shows the time of when they were released. That console's biggest title is the Halo series, which is obviously like a realistic, at least the graphics look realistic, but you know what I mean, it's a mature shooter. And it just, I think it was a real sign of the times that they tried to introduce a platforming mascot and it didn't work, but their new online shooter did work. So yeah, it just goes to show you how tastes changed over the time. But yeah, anyway, Blinks, I've heard mixed things about it. I've heard it's okay if it's even if it's a little bland. But like I was saying, Blinks the Time Cat, he did have this record your movements mechanic, and you essentially had to master that to do two things at once, which you know, could be interesting. And I guess it is worth pointing out that before this game, the whole idea of messing with time had been done before, and actually been done a lot, really. Now you can probably see from the background, it's kind of decaying. It's kind of like what you would imagine if there was a flood in your house, and all your personal possessions were damp and damaged and flooded. Kind of like if you threw a sofa into a canal. Anyway, this puzzle here, it's fairly simple. This section, you just use the same Goomba 3 times to get 3 different puzzle pieces. But I'll tell you this now, the third one, which you're about to see, is the one that really gave me the most trouble. And you'll probably see why, because you have to do something which you might not expect. Oh, and it's not this one, it's the one coming up. And yeah, to talk about the colour scheme of this level, it's very I guess time-wise, it's more of a nighttime feel. Well, not nighttime, but more of a sunset. I guess it's representing Tim's fallen relationship, the end of an era. Oh, and this is the one I was talking about. And you're about to see what you have to do. Yeah, that is so that got me stuck for so long. But yeah, I guess you just wouldn't think to do that. To use your previous self as a essentially let yourself get killed to give the Goomba some height. That's fairly abstract. I mean, I'll give them credit. It is fairly complex. I wouldn't have thought about it. It wouldn't have occurred to me. And yeah, this puzzle here also illustrates another game mechanic you might have forgotten about, and that's the idea that you can walk on top of doors. And you can see there I had to use that mechanic to get by. So yeah, this game's just you have this simple set of rules, this simple set of game mechanics, but you really have to think about what you're doing to utilise them, to progress, to make your way through. You know, I am reminded of the Legend of Zelda series, where in that one your shadow actively attacks you. But in this one, it serves you, it does your bidding. So, I gotta give Tim credit, he can control his shadow. Now this picture here, I believe it's Tim, like in the airport. I guess it's to represent his traversing the world, looking for his princess. And speaking of mature games, this one does have a twist at the end, something you might not see coming, but we'll get to that when we get to that. And actually, this game is pretty infamous for its ending, or the final revelation, and it is really done quite well. But you should see that when I finally get around to doing the final part of this. And yeah, and something I wanted to point out about this game is that it deals with the end of a relationship, and for a seemingly simple cartoon platformer, that is quite a complex set of emotions to get across, to communicate. And for that, I'll give it credit. I mean, granted, if you're younger, you could still play this game and enjoy the puzzles, and the whole relationship ending thing will just probably fly over your head. But yeah, that's something I do appreciate. And this whole world, the whole theme of it seems to be decay, the sort of a decay of household objects and furniture. And it of course represents the decaying relationship. But anyway, the point is you won't be able to sell any of this stuff on eBay. And here we see a trope a lot of games use, and that's the idea of reusing bosses. But I guess this, when I think about it, and I think about this boss, and the first time he appeared, you're really doing the same things. You're dropping the chandeliers, moving left and right, dodging the attacks. Yeah, the whole shadow mechanic is incorporated into the boss fight, but you're essentially doing the same thing. So to be honest, yeah, this boss is pretty much a rehash. But it's okay. I think all games can get away with one or two rehashes. But there you go. And something you might notice when you walk into this cavern is that I don't think he was hurting anyone. This enemy was just sleeping. And come to think of it, when you look at the enemies, I think most of them are fairly benign. It's just those rabbits that seem to have it out for you. And again, to talk about the difficulty of this boss, it's not really there. Because, well, you know what you have to do. and if you die, you can just rewind. But so yeah, you just keep on trying and trying, and eventually you should get your desired result. But yeah, speaking of which, yeah, but it doesn't really bother me. When I think about this whole reversing time, I don't think it actually lends itself well to boss fights. But for what they did in this game, they made a valiant attempt at it. So yeah, I'll give it credit for that. And you know, sort of give you a hint to where this game is going. This is actually the last time you see this boss. For the for the big finale, they do something a bit different. And of course, the villain spitting out fireballs. Again, maybe another reference to Bowser of the Mario series. Well, I must say, with that armor, he's kind of reminding me more of Ganon from the Zelda series. And actually, I must say, for a cave, these chandeliers, yeah, nice decoration. So I've got to give him credit. He does put the effort in. And with that, he's defeated. Now, honestly, yes, this next puzzle piece I got gave me a bit of trouble, and it really comes down to timing. But you see what you have to do. You have to sort of run with the key, unlock the door. But yeah, but you actually have to hit the switch once. And when I say the timing was a bit troublesome, yeah, that switch unlocks this panel here. And so you have to sort of... I don't know why. I tried this several times and it didn't work. But something I did find useful was something... Well, what you just saw there is the fact that I used the sort of super rewind feature. I rewound super fast, and that it just helped me get back to the door in time. Yeah, but yeah... I don't mean to keep going on about that puzzle, but I've done that several times and it just didn't work for some reason. And again, this one can be very tricky. You sort of have to use your shadow to unlock one door, then you unlock it yourself. And you can see that was actually quite a really tricky puzzle, because essentially all I had to do was touch the door before I got the key. And then when I rewound with the shadow, my shadow had the key and it unlocked the door. But anyway, with that done, with the last picture here done, the last puzzle piece, this world is done. Join me again next time.